Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. My name is Ciro Poppiti. I have the honor and pleasure of serving as the Register of Wills for Newcastle County. On behalf of the 18 men and women who make up the office of the Register of Wills, I want to welcome family, my dad Ciro, friends, and colleagues throughout government. Joining us shortly will be our County Executive, Tom Gordon, and I thank him for being here. I also want to thank WITN, Channel 22, here in the city of Wilmington, broadcasting this live, as well as our own NCC, Newcastle County TV, which will tape and broadcast this at a later time. I really appreciate WITN, and for those who are roaming the channels at this moment, watching television, I want to say stop right here, because what I have to say you're not going to see on Judge Judy or Fox or CNN. I have a lot of good news, and I want to share it with you. Today, on behalf of the Register of Wills office, we commemorate the 3rd anniversary of Operation Backlog. Now, when I first came into office 3 years ago, I learned that there was a considerable backlog of cases. There were some 3,000 plus old estates that were opened between the years 2000 and 2010 that were never closed. 3,000 cases represents an extraordinarily high number of backlog cases. Through Operation Backlog, we have gone back to the year 2000 and moved forward to either update or close these estates. After 3 years, here are the bottom line numbers. By going back and targeting the old estates, we have accounted for over $100 million in assets. Assets, where did that money go? Assets that was returned to the beneficiaries, to the families, and to the creditors. I love saying that. $100 million has been returned to the rightful people. Just as importantly, we have generated in essentially found money for Newcastle County, over $1.5 million. I am pleased to announce today that the exact figure, as of April 24th, 2014, are we ready, gang? The exact figure is $1,536,619.21. What do you think about that? Yeah. Now they can't hear you at home, folks. I said, what do you think about that, Mike Kozakowski? Yeah. And now you're fired up. Now I know what some of you are thinking. Ciro, congratulations on finding $1.5 million for Newcastle County. That's absolutely fantastic. But to be honest, I have no idea what you're talking about. Okay, I get that. I get that many people don't understand the estate process. So let's briefly take a step back in order to understand the big picture. When someone dies, the family comes into the Register of Wills and opens an estate. Doesn't matter if there is a will or if there is not a will, an estate is going to be opened. The person in charge of the estate, you may know that person by the layman's term, executor. We've all heard the term executor. The executor, after the estate is opened, they go out and they collect all of the assets of the estate. The estate may have assets that include a home, bank accounts, stocks and bonds, and of course cars. Once all the estates are collected and inventoried, then the executor pays off the bills. You pay down the debts. Debts include things like funeral bills, medical bills, and of course credit card bills. After the executor takes in all the assets, all the monies, and pays down all the bills, the executor makes an inventory. An inventory is basically a net worth statement of the estate. Again, you're taking all the assets, you pay down the debts to the creditors, and what you have left over is the net worth of the estate. Accounting is an important word. Why? Because every time an accounting is filed on an estate, okay, Newcastle County receives a fee. Why do we receive a fee? Because Newcastle County oversees the entirety of the estate process. So we receive a fee for overseeing that process. Okay, when I took office 3 years ago, I learned that going back to the year 2000, there was a backlog, again, of 3,000 estates. So now you understand what these estates represent. They were opened by an executor, but in many cases, the executor never filed an accounting. They never filed an inventory of all the assets. They never filed an accounting to give notice to the beneficiaries, to the creditors, what they had coming to them, okay? They never communicated to the beneficiaries what the estate was worth and what monies the beneficiaries had coming to them. Mike, you're looking at me with a frown face. It doesn't sound right, does it? No, it doesn't sound right, okay? So what we did 3 years ago is we started Operation Backlog, okay? We put a focus on closing the old estates, right, gang? My staff is here. We put a focus on it. We began to go back to the basics, to get back to the blocking and tackling of estate administration and estate oversight. And today, I'm pleased to report that after 3 years, we have closed or updated 513 old estates. 513, okay? Now, to those listening, that might not sound like a lot, 513, okay? But remember, 513 old estates generated for Newcastle County $1.5 million. I see my friend Dave Grimaldi. Come on in, Dave. We're just live on television. Everybody's been waiting for you. Come on down, County Executive Tom Gordon. Come on down. We've got good news here, sir. We've got good news. Welcome. 513 old estates that we've closed, County Executive. And again, that might not sound like a lot, but let me tell you the difficulty in closing an old estate, okay? Let's take an average case. Let's say the executor came in back in 2004, an open estate and never did anything, okay? Now we, the Register of Wills, are calling that executor up 10 years after the fact, 10 years, Nick, and saying, well, I know it's been 10 years since you opened the estate, and to be frank, we haven't received any information from you. The beneficiaries haven't received anything. The creditors haven't received anything. We haven't heard from you, and sheepishly, you haven't heard from us. And I know some of the deceased family members may have moved now out of state. It's been 10 years, and I know some of them probably are deceased. And, oh, by the way, you owe Newcastle County about $1,000. But nonetheless, would you be willing to work with us here at the Register of Wills to get this estate settled? Can you imagine making that phone call? It's not easy. And yet my staff, who I applaud today, have been making those phone calls, have been sending out those letters, have been working on this backlog. So I applaud them, but I also remind you, when an estate falls into a stale status, it's very difficult to get it out of a stale status. It's like when Humpty Dumpty falls. It's very difficult to put those pieces, right, back together again. So as a consequence, I take a lot of pride in the fact that in just 3 years, we have closed 513 of those old estates. Now, by closing those old estates, okay, the county government and the citizens of the county have benefited in many, many ways. Obviously, over 3 years, we have put $1.5 million into the county coffers. What does that go towards? Well, that goes to help pay for such services as police and paramedics, libraries and parks, all the things, all the reasons we love the county. All right? And again, $100 million in estate assets has been accounted for to the families, to the creditors, to the beneficiaries. What an achievement. What an achievement. In addition, I would note that by closing the old estates, we have cleaned up property records in Newcastle County. Remember, real estate does not always transfer by deed. I'm going to say that again. Real estate does not always transfer by deed. When someone dies, they leave their home to someone else. The home transfers at the point of death, not by a deed. So, of course, it is vital for Newcastle County to know who owns what real estate. Why is the chain of title important? Why? Because the bulk of county revenue comes from what? Property taxes. So we need to know who owns the land in order to know who we need to collect the money from. So through Operation Backlog, we have helped the county by clarifying the chain of title on hundreds of properties. Very good. Where do we go from here? Well, to recap, from 2000 to 2010, we had roughly 3,000 open, stale estates, okay? We're 513 down. Congratulations, gang. That means we have 2,500 to go. And does that mean since we raised $1.5 million from the 500, we're going to raise a gazillion dollars from the 2,500? Well, to be honest with you, no, and I don't know, okay? All of these cases are fact-specific. We've got to dig, and you have my commitment and the commitment of our staff. We're going to work on them one by one to get this backlog down from 2,500 to 0, okay? More importantly, what are we doing now? Okay, we came in 2011. How are we looking now? Well, I'm very proud. I'm very proud about our proactive case management, okay? We have already identified in the past few years of those estates open since 2011 that there are 80 cases that were trouble, okay? And you know what? We went after them. We worked with the executor. We brought them up to date, or we closed them, okay? We know that there are 338 other cases which may be problematic. But guess what? We have a plan for those 338 cases, okay? In fact, two things happened just this morning. At 10 o'clock, I got a letter put on my desk. It came in through one of our deputies, Leslie Keegan, of an executor who opened an estate in 2011 and now is running into different problems and doesn't know what to do. Okay, to that gentleman, Carl, I got your letter. I understand your problems. Our staff is committed to working with you, so we're going to close this problematic estate. That was at 10 o'clock. At 11:15, David Martinez, another one of our deputies, came in and said, Ciro, I know you have this problematic estate from 2011. I'm going to take it off your desk. I'm working with the executors. We're going to update. We're going to close this estate. So the good news is that from 2011 forward, we're using proactive case management, and we are not going to get into a backlog. What do we say about that, gang? We agree? We applaud? We applaud? Yeah! Didn't you folks get my notes prior to this speech? Okay. When good things happen in government, how do we react? How do politicians react? What do we say? I did something good. That means the person that came before me did something bad. Well, I don't want to blame anyone here because there is no blame here, okay? I have some inside baseball for you. Case management is difficult in every court in the nation. Case management is difficult in every court in the nation. You know why? Because it's like a pitcher of water as you're pouring into a glass and the glass is overflowing. More cases come in every day than the system can handle. More cases come in every day than the system can handle. The Register of Wills is not alone in that. In fact, I applaud my predecessors. I applaud all those great people I knew over the years working at the Register of Wills. They did a great job. The backlog probably would have been more if they hadn't been as diligent as they were. So no blame here. Just the fact of the matter is we got back to some basics, some basic blocking and tackling on case management, and that's why we're able to deliver this good news. I want to say some thank yous, okay? First of all, thank you from our staff to the county administration for working with us, for helping us. I thank county council for 3 years. They've given us all the support we could ask for. I want to thank our attorney practitioners, our friends in the banking community, the small business community, who have understood our vision and worked with us on these old estates. And to my staff, I want to say from me, thank you. You know, I looked at the numbers, and not only has my staff the past 3 years been doing their job, but they've done an extra at least 10%. When we look at the number of cases we've closed, that 500, that represents at least 10% extra effort on their part, taking time from their normal duties to go back and help on these old cases. So today is not Ciro's day. Today is your day, staff. I really, from my heart, appreciate your effort, these past 3 years. And so with that in mind, and well, let me step back for a second. I want to thank our leadership of the staff, Virginia Gokul, Alex Mealy, Esquire, Tracy Henn, who have led the way. Thank you from me. And with that in mind, County Executive, at this point, I'm going to welcome my staff to come up. We want, on behalf of the Register of Wills, to you, sir, as the head of our government, we're going to present you with a check for, and I love saying this, $1,536,619.21. This check presentation concludes our presentation. I thank you all for being here. All right. Come on, gang. Everybody step in here. Step in here. Come on. Come to the front, Tracy. Come on to the front. There you go. Thank you all. Good. All right. Thank you.